Hello, this message is for someone who has recently become a lot more real with themselves. So you might have been a person that in the past you wore rose-colored glasses, or you put the wool over your eyes. You were a person that was afraid of the truth, maybe. You were a person that rather looked the other way, that didn't want to know. Um, you were afraid of facing the truth, basically. But something took place in your life. If this message is for you, there was some kind of major event that forced you to look at the truth of yourself, and it created some kind of chain reaction in which then you started to see the truth of everything else in your life and everyone around you, all your relationships, your life. It's like this event was a catalyst to what they call a dark night of the soul, which it sounds bad because it feels bad, but it is the precursor, I forget how that's pronounced, to the dawn of your soul, where there's an awakening. Okay, so basically you're going through this process right now of waking up to the harsh realities and the harsh truths that you had avoided for so long. But they were also the reasons that you were living a life that wasn't, well, you've been living a life because you haven't changed that yet. If this message is for you, you're realizing you've been living a life that doesn't suit you. Okay, and so you're coming to terms with, how come I've built a life and put so much effort into building a life that doesn't actually suit me? How did I do that? And no wonder I'm not happy. Okay, so that's where you're at if this message is for you. Now, you might have gone through a period, which is typical of the dark night of the soul, of feeling deep grief, regret, and like maybe shame over past choices. And you might have been beating yourself up over your choices, and you might have also been doing a lot of reassessment of what got you to this point in time, like what choices led to what paths, to what decisions, to what life-changing events. How did this life happen for you? Okay, and this is exactly what a dark night of the soul is supposed to do, okay, to your consciousness. And so I guess if this message is for you and you're resonating, this is to the purpose of this message is to let you know you're right on track. And even though it feels like shit, it's actually really good for you. Okay, and this is what you've been actually wanting, because you wanted happiness. If this message is for you, you have built a life not suited for you, and you have been numb for a long time, and you've been closing your eyes to the realities, but deep down you wanted happiness. That's why you were doing that. You don't want to face the harsh realities because you wanted happiness so bad. Now, this is your actual way to happiness, is going through this spiritual awakening. Okay, so this is actually really good news for your soul, that you're on this path right now. And even though it hurts and is difficult, you have to understand that it is for your future benefit. Okay, so hopefully that helps you start to feel about that differently, that change in perspective. But furthermore, the reason you're feeling so compelled to face all the ugly truths now is because you're in the purging process. Okay, so it's kind of like when you start doing spring cleaning, and you get to that really shitty part, like where everything is messy. That's where you have to sort of push through and get it done, otherwise you will stay remaining in the mess, right? So that's where you're at, and that's where that urge to face all the shitty things come from. You want to get through it. Okay, there's many difficulties in life, actually most of them, that you can't get around them. The only way out of them is through them. Okay, so you're in one of those. Okay, that's how growth happens. All right, so just understand that this period is normal. Okay, you might feel really agitated about the state of things. People around you might be uncomfortable with that, because if they're not going through this at the same time as you, they might just feel like suddenly you have a problem with everything, and they don't see a problem with anything. They think it's just normal, and it's what you might have thought just a year ago, you know. Now you're looking underneath the surface, and that might be uncomfortable for people that are not going through the process. I mean, it's uncomfortable for you too, but right now you're seeking that discomfort because you're in a journey of growth. You're in a growth journey. Your soul has already started this process of awakening, and there's nothing you can do to undo that. And now you can't help but see everything for what it actually is. Now, what you need to do is keep moving forward in this process, okay? Like, keep moving through it. So the next thing is identifying, okay, so this is all bullshit. This didn't work. What is true? What is true? What works for me? What is true? You built a life not suited to you. You need to figure out what is suited to you. How do you figure that out? You have to figure out who you are. That is going to be rooted in your truth. So what you need to find out now is what is truth. You figured out what is lies. You figured out what was bullshit. Now you have to see what is true for you. What are some core ultimate truths for you? Such truths that you can build on, okay? You have to look for the kinds of truths you can build an identity on, okay? And then keep moving forward. You will get through this a much better person, but also you will have an actual chance at happiness in building a life actually suited to who you actually are, built on truth. Okay, so I hope that was helpful.